Tori Brenneison is a software developer and art historian whose purpose in life is to serve as a warning to others. When not writing integration code in a language that no one has ever heard of, speaking at conferences, or teaching programming to teenagers, she can usually be found hiking, petting dogs, or admiring her collection of mid-century glassware. Best to approach her in the wild with a sacrificial cup of coffee, and be forewarned, she's a hugger, although that's a little hard to do virtually. Tori's going to be sharing her story of becoming or being a recovering rock star. So go rock that talk, Tori.
Yes. Okay, cool. So hello, everyone. My name is Tori Brenneison. This is the Recovering Rockstar. It is a talk about my journey through burnout and the burnout of my physical health, my mental health, and how I got myself back on track to be happy and healthy. Small content warning, we will talk a little bit, I will talk a little bit about potential addiction issues and some substance abuse. If that is something that you need to piece out of and turn me off, when we get there, you will definitely know it. You can hit the button and close me out. My earpiece work. Okay, cool. So a little bit about me. I'm a software developer from Cleveland, Ohio. I work at Harley-Davidson Dealer Systems. Everyone thinks that working for Harley-Davidson is super duper cool. It is, but it's also a normal software job, just with about 99% more motorcycles involved. This talk is about how burnout is bad, and you can all have about 29 minutes left in your life now, because this is the entire point of the talk. This is all you need to know. Write it down in your notebook, move on. I'm going to continue talking though for 29 minutes because I signed a contract, and the Heartifacts organizers will yell at me if I don't continue talking. But in order to understand this talk, you need to understand a few things about me. Oh, and my computer has decided to freeze. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to understand a few things about me. This meme is me in fish form. I have a kind of aggressive, a little intimidating personality. I'm very type A. I'm very kind of high strung. What is this? Okay, I'm very kind of high strung, and that issue of my personality is kind of going to be brought to the forefront in this story. The other thing you need to realize about me, I am divorced. Don't be sorry for me, it was a good thing. And as a consequence of the divorce, I ended up moving back in with my parents. I was having a hard time finding employment. I was working at a minimum wage, part-time job, struggling to make ends meet, whole thing. And I had to switch careers and move into the tech sphere very, very quickly. In order to do that, I went to a programming boot camp, and I mean, the good news is that it came pretty naturally to me, but the bad news was I looked around and it's like, well, I am competing with these 20 other people who are in this boot camp for jobs, and all of us, we're competing with people out there who have computer science degrees. We're competing with people who have experience. So I busted my butt to get through boot camp. I did extra work, I did side projects, I started networking, I started going to meetups. I had interviews lined up before the program ended. I mean, I worked. And as an end result of that work, I did almost immediately out of the boot camp land a job at Highland Software, which is one of Northeast Ohio's biggest and most well-known tech companies. So it worked out for me, but I'm about to share the cost involved in having that work out so well for me. I've become kind of good friends with the woman who ran the boot camp. And as I was in, it was a brand new program, I was in kind of her first professional cohort, she called me up and she said, you know, I have the news here, and they want to interview someone who went through the program. Would you come in and talk to them? So I said, yeah, sure, why not? And I ended up on the news. And I ended up on the news. So I was on the TV and I was kind of in this news article, and I had a really good response. I started going to some meetings with the boot camp. I was kind of their recruitment person. They had me, you know, trotted out as a success story a lot. And then they wanted to do a commercial. And when they got me to do the commercial, I mean, they came to me and said, Tori, you're a rock star. And I was like, no, I hate the word rock star. That is an omen. That is a bad omen. Like, no, No, and this commercial keeps me up at night. It haunts my dreams because I literally say the word rock star in the commercial. They asked me to, and I still think about it, and I don't like it. And you can find this on YouTube, but please don't, because it is tremendously embarrassing. But since I was getting involved in the tech community through the boot camp, and I was working at Highland. Highland is really into tech outreach and community outreach, and so they started asking me to do things. And this is the slide at which, I mean, I need to skip over this because I was losing so much time to paying attention to the slide and trying to tell you all how busy I was when I started my career. All you need to know really is that 2018 was a terrible year because I was overbooked. I was double booked for things. I could not say no to things. I would go to work and I would work and do things outside of work and stay at work and go back to work. And it was just so much work. And it wasn't even my day job. It was everything surrounding my day job. And I had to be, I had a romantic partner. I had a kid. I had pets. Like, I'm doing all this on top of my life. And it was a lot. It was so much. But I didn't feel like it was burning me out because I was just stressed, right? Like, just because I'm doing a whole lot of things, it doesn't mean that I'm suffering from burnout. I'm just really busy. We saw yesterday in the first talk that the World Health Organization says that burnout is workplace stress that has not been successfully managed. Well, I didn't have workplace stress. My day job was fine. I would go into the office, sit down, program the computer, and my day job was great. It was all the things I was doing in addition to my day job that was causing me so much stress and anxiety and causing me to feel bad, which is why I really like this quote that I found from Elena Torini, who defined burnout as a combination of the nature of your work environment and what it demands of you, but also your relationship to your work. And what had happened with me is that my relationship to my work was no longer healthy because I had made so much more work for myself. I had convinced myself that in order to be successful, I not only had to do my day job, but I had to do all these other things on top of it and keep putting myself out there and keep just going and going and going and always saying yes, because that was how I was going to be a success. And at that point, you begin to ask yourself, well, am I really just stressing because I have a lot going on, or am I burning out? And at that point, I kept telling myself that I was just a little stressed, but the truth was that I felt like absolute garbage all the time. Because being in this constant state of stress and anxiety and go, go, go makes us physically ill. I would wake up in the morning to go to work, and it was so hard to drag myself out of bed and to go to the office because I was so certain that it was going to be another bad day. When you're burnt out, it's every day is a bad day. You don't have the motivation to try and make it a good day anymore. You don't have the energy. You go to work and you procrastinate and you put things off because you don't want to do them, and then you have to do everything all at once because you left it until the very last minute. And then there's some small uptick in success in getting it done, but it's not done right and it's not done well because you don't care anymore. And after it keeps going on and going on and going on, you're so busy. I suffer from migraines, and my migraines went to chronic migraine. I always had some sort of event just threatening right around here to happen. I've worn a Fitbit since 2016, so I have the data on this. And my cardiovascular health tanked. I mean, we learned in yesterday's talk about its effects on your blood pressure and your heart rate. And by the time that I finally got help for all of this, my resting heart rate averaged at 90, which for my size and my age is extremely high. Any sort of physical activity I did would just send my pulse skyrocketing until I felt like I was going to pass out. And, I'm thinking about this and I'm wondering, why was I doing this to myself? Like, what was the pursuit of work and more work? What I kept saying yes, even though I knew that it wasn't good for me anymore. These are some photos I want to share with you guys. It's a fun little game called the selfie that I send to my girlfriends in the group chat when I'm feeling like trash, and the photo that I post on social media. So this one is from 2018. It's from one of the Highland Women in Tech conferences that I was organizing. The bathroom selfie is obviously right before I went out and started the conference. And you could be forgiven for thinking that the other selfie with the tremendous bags under my eyes is after I got home and I was tired from running a conference. And instead, it's the other way around. That selfie is me being like, I'm going to run late because I need to put on 20 pounds of makeup in order to hide what's going on right here. Here's another one. The caption on this one was, I haven't slept for 2 days, LOL. Meanwhile, compare contrast with the president of my high school giving me a Young Alumni Award for, all the things I do to promote women in tech because I'm so busy that I'm dying on the inside, which I feel like comes across a little in my face there, but hopefully no one else could tell. The most telling one, though, this is me on my way home from a speaking engagement versus the selfie I sent to my friend asking her to bring the box of Kleenex from her desk to the Highland ladies' room because I had to stress cry in the bathroom and I'd run out of toilet paper, but someone else was in there, so I didn't want to leave the stall. Like, if you are stress crying at work, you probably have a problem. Like, you shouldn't be stress crying at work. I mean, I think we've all cried at work at least once, but it shouldn't be an ongoing occurrence. And this kept going, and I kept putting work onto myself. This is from Code Match in 2019. So this is January of 2019. And so at this point, I've been running myself ragged for over a year. And you can tell if you look at the bathroom hotel selfie, the end of my ponytail looks kind of gross. My hair is a little scraggly. If you look up where my part is, it's a little thin. And that's because the fatigue and the health effects of the burnout and everything were getting to the point where my hair was falling out. If you look at my social media selfie, I have a lot of product in my hair. I'm making a weird face so you can't tell how tired I am. And my hair is very carefully parted in a way that hides where my actual natural part is because my hair situation was getting kind of iffy. Finally, in April, I ended up at the doctor. This is actually from my birthday. My 33rd birthday present to myself was a trip to the doctor to explain that I couldn't keep doing what I was doing and I needed to know if there was something actually physically wrong with me. And I was expecting just, a brief examination and for her to tell me that I needed to maybe cut some things out of my schedule and meditate a little and drink water and I would be fine. And instead, she ordered 7 different blood tests, did a physical, and told me that we needed to find what was causing my health issues because it couldn't keep going this way, which was a wake-up call. I mean, we did find out that I had a low-grade, non-anemic iron deficiency that would help explain some of the symptoms. It was probably why I was so tired and why I looked so tired. And it probably had a lot to do with my hair. But aside from those health effects, it wouldn't explain the total package, and I definitely did need to stop running myself ragged all the time. So I had to ask myself, why am I doing this? Because it's not just about money anymore. It's not about furthering my career at this point. It may have started that way, but that's not what it was at all, because as soon as I stopped moving, as soon as I tried to relax, I would become so keyed up. I'd get so much anxiety and feel like I wasn't being productive and I wasn't working and I needed to be doing more and I needed to be starting things and, people would miss me if I disappeared and what if I don't get enough likes on Twitter? And I learned that your brain actually can become addicted to productivity in the same way that it can be addicted to alcohol, it can be addicted to substances, it can be addicted to other kind of destructive behaviors. The front part of our brain changes physically. We rewire ourselves to be in pursuit of the high, of this feeling that we get. And that's that front part of our brain, right up here, that's where our executive functioning lives. So in the same way that someone with ADHD, for example, their executive function is influenced in a way that it causes problems with attention and focus and impulsive behavior. When you have a problem with addiction, your executive function is so tuned in to pursuing that reward that you let the rest of your life just fall apart. The only thing that matters is satisfying the reward system in your brain, which is so fine-tuned to this one thing. So this is your content warning part. Like, if you need to drop off, I understand. So for me, that feeling of anxiety that I would get when I felt like I would try to relax, but it would feel bad, and I would get so nervous, and I didn't know what to do with myself, was very reminiscent of the feeling that I would get about 10 years ago when my pill bottle was empty. So I have not touched a benzodiazepine in over 10 years. Like, I'm good with that. I am what the cool kids now call in remission, which is when you have been in active recovery from your addiction for over 5 years. But for me, the word recovery is an ongoing process. It's something that promises us that we're going to get better. It's something that I think about often, maybe not every day anymore, but I consider it to be something that I'm always putting into practice. And so if we can recover from other forms of addiction, and if we can recover from mental health issues, at least to a certain extent, we can recover from burning ourselves out and becoming addicted to work and this idea that we need to be productive and we need to be successful. The question is, how do we do that? Or at least, how did I do that? And if you're suffering from kind of the same kind of things, maybe some of these can help you. It's a pop culture reference by now that step one is admitting you have a problem, which obviously, with my trip to the doctor, I realized that something had to change. Even if you've never been in a 12-step program, you've never read a big book in your life, you're probably familiar with that saying. And now that I'd identified the root cause of my problem, that I had to keep working because I'd rewired my brain that way, it was time to take some steps to undo the damage. The first thing was I had to tackle all the things I had let go in my lifestyle that enabled me to just keep saying yes to things and overbooking my calendar. I mean, after all, it's, in order to recover from my benzo addiction, I had to stop taking benzos. It's like, you can't keep doing the same lifestyle things. You could follow all the slides that would come after this, but if you don't change your lifestyle, nothing else changes. What I had to learn was how to manage expectations around my time, both my expectations and other people's expectations. And I learned 5 magic words to doing that, and they are: let me check my schedule. It's not a yes, it's not a no. It's when someone asks you to do something, let me check my schedule. And it gives you that little break to be like, do I really want to do this? Can I book this? I can look this up and actually see if I'm overbooked, and then I can make a decision. And I found that people don't really push back once you say no. If you say, oh no, I'm sorry, I'm so busy, I'd love to help you, but I can't. I haven't had someone push back on that. So it's a good way to say no without being like hard no. And along with that, it's let me cut down my schedule of things that I actually really want to do and things that I'm actually really passionate about. The other thing that I learned is that I need to delegate my responsibilities better. If I'm in an event, like, I'll fill a leadership vacuum all day long, but I can't micromanage. I can't be responsible for everything. I need to trust other people to do things for me. Even if it was like writing this talk, I sent my partner out to get dinner because I can't sit down, write a talk, and cook dinner. And it's just those small steps, small things that you can do to just free up your schedule and learn to let go a little bit. The other thing that I had to take care of was my physical health, which, as evidenced by my trip to the doctor, suffered a lot. The first thing was I bought this water bottle. I was drinking literally pots of coffee a day in an effort to both stay awake and be interesting, and because I just really like coffee and I let it get totally out of hand. I hate drinking water, but I make sure that I fill this up at least once a day and drink the entire thing. I realize that you're supposed to drink like 2 of these, but I really, really hate water. And honestly, even the half amount of water, big difference in health. The other thing for me was my sleep hygiene. Again, with the Fitbit, If you have a Fitbit with a heart rate monitor in it, it will actually track how you sleep and give you the sleep score. My sleep score was abysmal. I've raised it about 30 points since beginning my whole wellness makeover. And even just taking my electronics and taking my work things out of the bedroom, not working until I absolutely had to fall asleep, not, just pushing myself and then expecting myself to fall asleep immediately, getting some nice pajamas, getting some nice pillows, taking a little work break before I try going to bed. These are tiny things that make a really big difference, because giving your body that chance to rest and reset is so vitally important. And this is from someone who, years and years ago also had insomnia problems. Like, I love sleep. I don't know what I'm gonna do if I have insomnia again, because I love sleep. Sleep is my new favorite thing. It's like I've just discovered it, and I'm completely in love. I have the obligatory endorphins make you happy on here. Getting a workout is always good for you, getting your heart rate up a little, even if you're just taking a short walk. But I'm trying to stay away from things that, like, you can Google and Google can tell them to you better than I can. I do want to talk about releasing pressure and releasing anxiety and dealing with it in a healthy way. That frustration and that feeling that I had when I was so keyed up and I didn't feel like I was being productive and I needed to do something. Those feelings when we're trying to change our lives and when we're trying to come back from something that's very negatively affected our health, we can have a lot of anger, we can have a lot of frustration in dealing with that. We need to release those feelings in ways that are not harmful to others and are not harmful to ourselves. When you're suffering from something like burnout, it's really easy to start self-medicating. It's really easy to go and start, having a glass of wine every night that turns into 2, that turns into 3, that turns into a bottle. It's really easy to have, it's easy to have another problem in addition to your burnout. So it's really important to find a way to release those feelings in ways that aren't harmful, especially things like anger, because I know I had a lot of anger towards myself. And it's this feeling of, almost shame that you let things get so bad and you should have known better and you kind of turn that inward. The best advice, and this is going to sound so stupid, but I love sharing it with people. I once had a therapist tell me go out and buy a newspaper. And the whole point of the newspaper was that next time I was just absolutely furious at myself and I just wanted to punch something or just, to take it out somehow, I would get the newspaper and just rip it to shreds. And let me tell you, when you are absolutely just so angry at the world, taking it out on just this shreddable paper is really satisfying. It sounds silly, but it's absolutely true. The other things I wanted to talk about journaling, as everyone tells you to hit the gym. I'm bad at journaling. I know that it's good for me and it's a mindfulness practice, but I am so bad at keeping up a journal. I will write about my feelings for like 3 days max and then forget the thing exists. I tricked myself into journaling by writing down what I had for dinner every night because I am very highly food motivated. I love food. So if I write down what I have for dinner every night, because I won't skip dinner, so I won't skip writing down what I had for dinner, I find that I'm already journaling, I'm already writing down my dinner. So I might as well write down how I'm feeling, and then I start thinking about it, and then congratulations, now I'm journaling for real instead of just writing menu plans. 2 more slides. This was also one of my big ones, and it was doing things that are the opposite of work. Dedicated time in my schedule, scheduling blocks of non-productive activity. And I have to define non-productive activity. These are things that do not produce a product, like there's no end thing that you end up with, and they do not help you accomplish any sort of goal. This is just mindless, this is sitting on the couch binging Netflix. And not binging a documentary or not learning. This is brain candy time. This is on your phone playing Candy Crush until your phone just dies because you've lost track of time. Things like going and taking a walk, but a slow, aimless walk. I define this as the difference between me. I'm a hiker, so walking is my hobby. It's the difference between me taking an ambling walk through my neighborhood and me strapping on a pack, driving to the park, and hiking for 10 miles. One of those has a goal. The other one is non-productive time. And at first, this was tremendously hard. I had to force myself to turn off and do something that didn't matter, but it gets easier the more you do it. Last slide. Well, there's 3 more slides, but this is really the last important slide. I want to talk about social support. Again, these are things that you can Google, and Google can tell you them better than I can. But I do want to talk about employee assistance programs. They are usually offered by a lot of employers, and they can not only provide mental health and counseling services, often for free. A lot of them I've seen employees get, X number of therapy visits on the employee assistance programs that they don't have to pay for. But if you're having any sort of other struggle in your life, they can provide often legal assistance, financial advice, things like that. So your employer is already paying for it. If it's an offering to you, please take advantage of it in general. Also, therapy. I love therapy. I am currently a therapy graduate, but would go back in a heartbeat. I think everyone should have a therapist before they need one, just in case. Having a professional to talk things out with and kind of process your feelings with and kind of check in with, I think, is vitally important in any sort of recovery process. And then just getting out of the office. One of my problems working at Highland was that, I'd come fresh out of the divorce. All my friends are my ex's friends. So I made new friends and I made them at work. And these people are still my friends, even though I don't work at Highland. They're amazing. But we'd be like, oh yeah, we should hang out after work. And hanging out after work was booking a conference room at work after work, which didn't help with my work-life balance that didn't exist because also all of my friends were work. So even if you can get out on your lunch break, take a walk, you can just go out to the parking lot of your job. And if you work from home, leave your house, go out in your driveway, go in your backyard, do something that gets you away from your work environment for at least a little bit every single day. So helpful. But I am out of time. And because I'm out of time, I want to leave you with 2 things. I want to leave you with, I am doing much better. I am feeling better. I'm very intentional about the projects that I take on. I'm very happy that I got to share this with you today. I would like you to know that now the selfies I send to my girlfriends are just outtakes of my photo shoots of my dogs where the lighting isn't so good and my dog looks derpier than usual. And finally, that if you or one of your loved ones is experiencing a mental health or substance abuse problem, please call the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration's free helpline. The number is 1-800-662-HELP. This is available in the United States. Other countries may have a similar resource. They will be there for you in English and Spanish, 24/7, 365, with information, support, and they can refer you to any sort of treatment that you may need. So my name is Tori Brenneison. This has been the Recovering Rockstar. Thank you, Heartifacts, very much. I'll give you back to Sarah.
Thank you, Tori. I always appreciate conference talk sessions with stories in them, but even more especially with vulnerable stories. So I appreciate you speaking both a deep story at this Heartifacts as well as you spoke at our last one too. So thank you for both of those. Somebody had asked us in our Heartifacts live channel, do you have any advice for figuring out which responsibilities can or should be delegated when you're a team of 1?
Oh, when you're a team of 1, that's hard when you have a team of 1. If there's any hope of becoming a team of 2, I would do that, but I understand that's not always possible. For me, I've been lucky to have other support. I don't know, for a team of 1, I would just say, is there something in your personal life that you can delegate out? Even, I had the ability to send my partner out for meals. Can you do something like a meal planning service or a subscription service or something that will deliver that to your door instead of having to go grocery shopping? Can you find any way to kind of automate and make your life easier with really anything and delegate that out to a service? Dry cleaning pickup?
Yeah, those are some good thoughts. I was also thinking about how with a lot of remote jobs, people, especially if they've been working in person for their job, there's probably this higher stress level that people have this need to feel productive or work a lot or at odder hours. Do you have suggestions on how they could try and reduce their stress when maybe the team or management kind of expects them to be this rock star at home?
So, fun story with Harley Davidson Dealer Systems right now. We are all working overtime because we are beholden to the motor company, and the motor company's deadlines did not get moved when we lost some staff. And long story short, everyone is working a lot from home because we don't have an office anymore and ever again. So everyone at my job has been adjusting to that exact situation. For me, my work-life balance is obviously, it's really important to me now. I've changed jobs twice in pursuit of a better balance, and I'm really protective of my time at home. So this entire area that you have seen around me is brand new. It's been built once I found out that I wouldn't have an office ever again at Harley Davidson. At lunchtime, I may not get to take my full lunchtime, but there's going to be at least 20 minutes where I am off. Do not send me Teams messages because I will not get them. I am not in this room. I am elsewhere in my house. I am taking a walk outside. I am gone. If it is really important, I have Teams on my phone and you can tag me. But if you tag me and it's not important, I'll be mad. It's okay to be mad at your teammates. Other than that, scheduling is a big one, making sure that we have enough devs on at one time to pair and do work and knock things out. And then if all else fails, push back to your management. Your manager probably cares about you more than you think. The dev team at Harley Davidson has been really, really fortunate to have a manager that will push back to the product team when they enact a kind of unreasonable deadline on us. And if all else fails, call me because I'll yell for you. Like, my team has learned that I don't have a filter on this. And so some of the product team have gotten like full Tori, why is this our problem? Because we didn't set these deadlines. It's about boundaries, and sometimes you have to enforce them using your voice very loudly and forcefully over Teams.
Yeah. You'd also mentioned taking your vacation days, which I guess hypocritically agree with you, because I know right now I've started a new job and I'm probably could use a little vacation, but feeling guilty about trying to take it. Any ideas on how to ensure people do things like this, or cutting your clutter, or some of the other things you suggested?
So I'm also a vacation day hypocrite. I will hoard my vacation days. I have to force myself to actually use them. Part of my problem is that I always want to take off like the end of the year, like that weird Christmas, New Year's time. Like, I always want to take that off, and then I'm like, well, I can't use them anywhere else because I want that. I'm like, I get 3 weeks, and that's like a week max. So Tori, what are you doing? You need to like go somewhere. And at the height of my burnout, I actually had a friend who was like, you need a vacation. And I was like, Patrick, I don't take vacations. I don't. Like, I gave him this whole, I don't take vacations because I can't, because everyone needs me. And he told me that wasn't good for me, and I told him to F off. But it's find something that you want to do. So when you think about what kind of downtime is important to you, like for me, it's getting outside. And I know that I can get outside in the winter. I don't mind winter camping, but other people do. And so if I want to go out with my friends and we want to go camping, I need to take a vacation during the summer. And I will contact people. We will schedule that in advance, and it will get on the schedule as soon as possible. And I will tell my manager, and then I can't change it. So it's getting it on the schedule. It's kind of identifying what is important to you to do outside of work and scheduling that. It's not, don't take a vacation and just like stay at home and watch TV. I know I talked about non-productive activity, but use a vacation to motivate you to do something else that you care about, to get away, to travel, to just do something fun, and don't think about work for a while.
Yeah. You had also suggested hobbies or non-productive time as important things to make sure you schedule for. Do you have suggestions on, one, either how to pick up a hobby or more reliably pick one up if you maybe already have it and you're just not doing it lately, or other suggestions on like if you cleared space out of your calendar, not filling it back up again with things that don't matter so much.
So when I say like a non-productive hobby, I have a whole lot of hobbies that result in an end product, and I enjoy doing them. And at first, when I first started, I didn't allow myself to do any of them because I was like, this is sit on the couch and watch Netflix time. This is not Tori goes and bakes a really elaborate cake time. This is not doing things time. And I've since been able to work elaborate cakes and hiking and reading books and things back into my schedule because those are things that I care about. I mean, those are hobbies. Those are things that give me fulfillment. But at first, I focused on doing nothing because I had to relearn how to do nothing. And then as far as picking up a hobby is finding something that's important to you to fill your non-work time. I mean, go back to maybe what you wanted to do as a kid. Like when you were little, what were you interested in? It was probably, I don't know, space or dinosaurs would seem really universal. A kid could tell you about space and dinosaurs all day long. I got over my space phase, but I'll still go outside and look at stars. That's fine. I got back into baking after years. Actually, I had picked up baking as a way to deal with anxiety years ago and picked it back up and moved into cakes, although I'm really more into the decorating than the making now. But really just, and if you can't pick anything, if you're paralyzed for choice, there are dozens of, if you can force yourself to go out and interact with people, if you're not like me, I'm a massive introvert. There are tons of meetup groups that you can go and like, you only need to meet those people once. And if you're not into them, like if you're not into whatever they're doing, you never have to see those people again. You can try it out once and move on with your life. It's okay to quit something if you don't like it. You don't have to choose a hobby and be stuck with it forever.